On this New Year's resolution edition of Inside Bellingham, Kim Spence visited with the Parks Department to find out about tree damage after the recent spate of wind and snowstorms that visited us in December. Mayor Tim Douglas has some New Year's resolutions about the city's priorities for the next year. Public Works has prepared its annual capital projects report. If you'd like to see what and how they've done, stay with us. And we'll visit with Andy Rowlson, one of the important behind-the-scenes folks for the city's HR department. All this, and maybe a thing or two more, right here on Inside Bellingham. Hi, and welcome to Inside Bellingham. I'm Doug Waldo, and this is Bellingham's Columbia neighborhood, the second oldest neighborhood in town. Columbia boasts lovely tree-lined streets and several parks. The oldest homes, over 100 years old, are near Eldridge Street. Many have brass plaques that indicate the original owners and the date of construction. The neighborhood includes about 4,000 residents and is bordered on the north by Squalicum Creek, on the west by Eldridge Street, and on the east by Meridian. Elizabeth Park, with its magnificent collection of deciduous trees, is the oldest park in Bellingham. The distinctive gazebo and lovely old trees make this a terrific neighborhood asset. This absolutely perfect climbing tree was sadly damaged by the storms at the end of last year. It was a favorite climbing tree by the neighborhood kids. Maybe it still will be. I hope so. Of course, this isn't the only damage that was caused by those storms. Whew, weren't they something? The Parks Department is still cleaning things up. Kim Spence visited with the busy park staff right after those storms to see just how bad the damage was.
It's only mid-December and already our parks have sustained a lot of damage from recent storms. Probably none harder hit than Elizabeth Park, our oldest park in the city. Today we'll talk with Steve Nordine, who's in charge of park maintenance, about what he and his crew do to make our parks safe.
We've had wind, we've had a lot of rain, and there's been snow. And with that, we've had significant damage in most of our parks, from complete tree failures to partial tree failures. This is a horse chestnut tree that failed in the November 15th storm. We considered it a healthy tree. It's about maybe 60 years old, but you can see from the wound here there's not a lot of decay. But the attachment on the tree, the attachment is where a limb forms or it connects to the main stem. There was poor attachment, and the wind was able to catch this branch just right and rip it right off the tree.
Now, do you have guys climbing trees?
We do. We have, again, certified arborists, and they actually are climbing up in the trees. It's a very unique skill, and they're very good at it, very proficient.
We're pretty busy. We're pretty much just working on storm-related stuff and not on any of our other maintenance or scheduled stuff. It's always safety issues first, and the first areas you look at are the areas that get a lot of use, and you worry about the back 40 later. Well, in storm salvage, like the cedar, for example, we'll use it. We'll take it back to the shop, and our shop will make benches and tables and different things out of it. So it doesn't go to waste.
Which park sustained the most damage this time?
Elizabeth Park was hit really hard. These are older trees. This is the oldest park in our system. And so some of the trees, they're failing just due to age. and then we had the wind and the rain events to cause some damage. If you go to any of the parks, you'll see some kind of tree damage. A lot of the trails in Lake Padden was hit really hard from the south winds.
If people want to know more about how to keep their trees healthy and therefore safer, where would they go to find more information?
The best thing to do is contact a certified arborist. They're certified through the International Society of Arboriculture, and they're available in the phone book, and they're also listed on the website too.
What are some basic precautions people should take during a storm or after a storm in one of our parks?
I would recommend avoid using the parks on really windy days and trails. Let the wind blow through, and then they can go through, because people really like to use the trails. When you're in the parks, you want to watch out for any electrical hazards, because we are in parks, but yet we're also along streets, and we're near neighborhoods, and there are power lines in some of the parks. You want to look out for electrical hazards. The other thing people need to do is to look up rather than look down all the time, is look up and see there might be hanging branches, and even a small branch can hurt somebody.
We love our trees in our parks, but during storms, be extra cautious about using them. During real high wind events, try to avoid the parks and by no means enter one if it's been flagged off. After a storm, when you're in a park, look up and around for hanging branches and just use common sense. In the meantime, be patient with our parks crews. They're going to be working for months cleaning up the damage. And when you see one of them, thank them for all the work they're doing.
You can find out more about parks and recreation improvements and about volunteering to help out in the parks by visiting the park's website at www.cob.org/parks. January is historically a month for both review of previous work and new resolutions to move us forward in a positive direction. So it's fitting for Mayor Tim Douglas to share with us his priorities for city government this year.
Well, we've got, of course, the Central Waterfront, which is both a huge opportunity and also a really complex project. So we'll be working on that steadily during the year and involving the public in looking at what may be possible and doing the costing out and all of those things. The Lake Whatcom watershed, water protection is tremendously important for this community. It will be our legacy for the future, and we'll be working very hard on that. I think primarily in three areas: some further acquisition of property in the watershed to help protect the water quality, also working with people who live in the watershed so that to the extent possible their lifestyles respect the impacts they can have if they don't handle things right, and that's going to be very important. And the third thing is looking at how we can handle stormwater. We've done the big projects now, so we're looking at smaller things that could be done to help preserve water quality. Well, you know, one of the great things about Bellingham is it has such a sense of place. And of course, a part of that is the neighborhoods themselves. And we are in a process now of updating the plans so that we end up with a city that's greater than the sum of its parts, that is really shaped for the future that we should be able to enjoy. And that's going to be a very important project during the year, is working very hard with citizens all across the community and with the business community and the building industry to make sure that we have affordable housing, that we have the ability to infill in a way that respects the character and qualities that have made Bellingham such a great place to live.
You can find out more about city priorities for 2007 and beyond by visiting the city's website at www.cob.org. Keeping the city's infrastructure, things like streets, water systems, storm drains, in tip-top condition requires a lot of different tasks like planning, designing, permitting, inspecting, constructing, and maintaining. We asked the city's engineers to give us highlights of the important projects that kept them busy last year.
Well, welcome to the new and improved Fraser Street. Our main priority here was to improve the pedestrian and bicycle corridor. As you can see behind me, there's new bike lanes and a sidewalk. In addition, we installed storm drainage piping, and there's overhead lighting and a new roadway section. A highlight of this project, I would say, is the porous concrete sidewalk. It's unique because it allows stormwater to infiltrate into the underlying soils, therefore move gradually into Whatcom Creek, better for the environment. The project was on budget. We're slightly behind schedule due to some conflicts with underground utilities, but stay tuned for the next 2 more phases of this project to continue improving this pedestrian corridor. Another project constructed this year was the city's annual water main replacement program. Colicurcio Brothers out of Blaine installed approximately 12,000 lineal feet of 8-inch diameter ductile iron water main pipe. Various fire hydrants, gate valves, and water meters were also installed on residential services as part of that.
We're standing in front of the Sunset Heights tank and pump station. The tank's been here for a while, as well as another tank. The pump station is new. That's the sort of Swiss chalet building you see behind me. The thing that's missing that a lot of you will miss as you drive by is the elevated tank. The reason we took this down and put in the pump station was because putting in the pump station was more effective and efficient for fire flows. Instead of having a relatively small tank with high pressure, now the entire tank can be high pressure. This will allow us to have better fire flows for this entire area, and most specifically for Western Washington University. The project was done in conjunction with Western Washington University, with them paying for much of it. Another project that's complete is the Kearney Road Reservoir. That's, to a certain degree, the balance on the other end of the city for this tank. That's a brand new tank, a relatively large one, and most people won't see that. It's a little bit beyond the old James Street tank, which is about halfway up King Hill.
We are out on Squalicum Parkway at the location of the future park. Behind me is West Street. This project is a pedestrian improvement project primarily. It will have a pedestrian activated crosswalk that will connect the Columbia neighborhood to the Beta Baker Trail and allow them access, or better access, to the future park. 2 other projects we worked on this year are the sanitary sewer rehabilitation project, in which we used a cured-in-place rehabilitation method that does not require any excavation. The other project that we've done this year is the 2006 traffic calming, where we installed 11 speed bumps and 5 traffic circles.
As you can see behind me, we have the Holly Street Bridge here in Old Town, and we had a rehabilitation project here this summer. It was a very unusual project in that a lot of it was underwater, and we had a contractor that was both a professional engineer and contractor, and I think he can describe it best.
The first thing that we did was we brought divers in to inspect the foundation of the bridge and check for any damage or voids. And what we found was that underneath the existing abutment we had voids, and we also had a layer of loose gravel. We came and brought big, heavy, 1.5, 2-foot diameter rock and placed it at each side of the abutments for protection and also containment for the future grout that we were going to pump in to fill the voids. We came in with a small drill rig and we drilled in some hollow stem rods that were drilled into the gravel matrix. Those particular pipes then were hooked up to a grout plant which pumped a liquid type cement grout that was pressure grouted out into the gravel matrix to solidify it and turn it theoretically into a type of concrete and stabilize it so that it did not put the stress through the bridge. And then after that was taken care of, go back and repair any cracking or spalling that occurred because of the stress.
You can find out more about what goes on at Public Works by visiting the website at www.cob.org/works. www.cbp.org/PW. Although the public doesn't get to interact with them very much, the staff of Human Resources, or the HR department, is a valuable asset to city employees and for the public as well. Andy Rowlson wears many hats at HR, but his principal job is to keep the city staff updated on the myriad complexities of staff benefits, regulations, pensions, and insurance. And with about 800 employees to keep in the loop, Andy stays pretty busy.
I have one of those jobs that are behind the scenes. As the benefits manager at the City of Bellingham, my function would be to work with employee benefits like the medical, dental, and vision plan for employees, also workers' compensation for employee injuries, and other programs like our wellness program. Hey, Connie. With all of our benefits programs, we want to make sure that the program is well run, we are getting good value for the dollars that we are spending, and the employees know about the benefits and can use them appropriately when they need to.
HR Benefits, Andy speaking.
I think the biggest value from our benefits program is it helps the city to recruit well-qualified employees that want to work with us for a long time. The learning curve for a lot of our jobs is very long, and the benefits programs is one component to make sure that we keep those well-qualified employees, and those well-qualified employees then serve our citizens. What I like most about my job is the variety. I get to deal with every city employee. At some point or another, they will walk through the benefits door with a question or need some help. What I also like about the job is I work with all the different city departments on safety issues, financial questions that they might have about the benefits charges to their departments. So it's really, the job really has a wide variety to it. I think one of the reasons I really enjoy my job is my coworkers count on me and they trust me to deliver good benefits to them and appropriate benefits to make sure that those benefits allow us to recruit and retain the employees that the city needs to function. And I think there's a lot of job satisfaction in knowing that I have an important job and I make a difference for the entire city of Bellingham.
If you'd like more information about the HR department or find out about employment opportunities with the city government, check out www.cob.org and click on Working. We've had a great year here at BTV10. Inside Bellingham provided an inside look at city government people, services, activities. Along the way, we highlighted much of what we all appreciate about Bellingham. Beautiful parks and trails, healthy neighborhoods, interesting and vibrant commercial areas, and a distinctive arts and culture scene. Here's just a short example of what we feel are some of our finest stories from 2006.
Have you ever wondered how the crew of an engine company actually fights a house fire?
You can call 676-6677. Give yourself a fighting chance.
Basically in this front half here, in this front section right here, was what got this whole thing started.
And if you would like to request this, give us a call or stop by and pick one up.
Hi, I'm John Asmundson. I'm here in the Permit Center. We're located in City Hall at 210 Lottie Street.
In July, I complete my 27th year with the city.
Wow. In order for cyclists to stay safe out on the road, and all those rules apply to bicyclists the same as they do to motor vehicles.
The number one place criminals steal your identity is from your own mailbox.
I've been a steward of public lands for most of my adult life, and now I'm a steward of souls, not only public lands. And that, I didn't think there could be more icing on the cake until I came up here.
The key thing is that we come in, get our plant far enough away that we can get our leg extended, keep our heel behind us, and snap down at the knee.
Understand, I'll get a search warrant.
The purpose of the Bellingham Police Department's Party Patrol, or Emphasis Patrols, is to curb underage drinking problems.
Or like this one.
For the youth of our community.
That's what we call a nuisance alarm. Well, this is the finale. This is the what it's all about. All the work for the last 2 years, especially the last 2 late nights. All of the works are on the wall. This is sort of the glory of the glory time for the process.
Probably the most rewarding thing for me is making a difference. And I know that sounds a little bit corny, but as an attorney, you can argue that a certain outcome is appropriate under the law and under the facts and under a sense of justice. But as a judicial officer, you're the one who makes that decision, and hopefully you make a decision that's going to make the world a better place.
I got into trees specifically because I really love working with them. Trees mean a lot to a lot of people.
Basically, I facilitate the public's use of the Waka Museum's photo archives. So I help them find pictures of things that they're looking for.
This is the Bellingham Police Records Bureau. This is a 24/7 police operation that provides services to the officers of our police department as well as to the law enforcement community in general.
Currently, the Bellingham Food Bank serves, we get about 6,000 visits every single month, which means that we turn out about 130,000 to 140,000 pounds of food over the course of a month.
As for the rest of the public, come on down and enjoy the view. Just watch out for the seagulls.
We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Inside Bellingham and all of our shows from 2006. Our goal is to keep you informed about what's happening in Bellingham, one of the greatest cities in the entire nation to live, work, and play, even in winter. If you have feedback or ideas, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us through our website or directly via email. From all of us at BTV10, we look forward to sharing with you this beautiful community in 2007. And in the words of the late, great James Brown, rock on! I'm Doug Waldo. Thanks for watching.